since there's a big concern about the expending of public funds in all of this, I'm going to save the taxpayers some public fund money. And under our council rules of procedure and policy that we have enacted, I would like to have this included for the record. Greetings. As a child, summer was a favorite time of year for me. I could read novels to my heart's content, do arts and crafts projects, and float for hours in the vastness of Deer Lake, bobbing up and down with each wave. However, by the time August rolled around, I was anxious for school to start. I loved school. During junior and senior high school, I worked at the school library during study periods and got first pick of the new books. Wow, while most kids would find new books exciting, I did. A new school year meant new books, new classes, new clothes, new school supplies. Sometimes I reflect back on those years and the values I learned. My mother was a hard worker and made a living to support her children by selling vacuum cleaners and Avon cosmetics door to door. As you can well imagine, we didn't have much money when I was a child. My mother worried over making the property tax payments and for many years could not afford fire insurance on the home. Getting new school clothes was exciting, but I knew they came as a result of planning and sacrifice by my mother. Today, instead of planning for a new school year, I find myself as an elected official, along with my council, planning next year's city budget. Again, balancing needs against wants. City budget planning for 2010. Everyone at City Hall will need to be part of the 2010 solution and make tough choices as Maplewood tightens the budgetary belt a notch or two. On June 22, 2009, the City Council took the lead by passing a motion to freeze the cost of living increase scheduled for the 2010 council salaries by unanimous vote. The action item was placed on the agenda by Councilmember Jelly. The annual pay for the position of mayor is approximately $12,300, while City Council members receive an annual salary of approximately $10,800. In comparison, the city manager earns $130,600 and the assistant city manager earns $120,536. Also on the June 22nd agenda was Councilmember Jelly's proposal that each council member take a 50% pay cut. Although council members weren't on board with Councilmember Jelly's proposed 50% cut in their minimal salary, all indicated they were open to pay cuts paralleling what city employees may have to suffer in contract negotiations this summer. On July 6, 2009, a workshop was held where the City Council met with City Manager Jim Antonin about possible adjustments to our 2009 city budget due to changes in current revenue, financial forecast for 2010, and a discussion of expenditure options for the 2010 city budget. We discussed 6 different options to address the projected 2010 shortfall of approximately $375,000. One option included a new special tax levy to reclaim the homestead credit already given to homeowners. Other options including reducing program expenditures, mandatory employee furloughs, and deferring cost of living increases. Elected officials and top city administrators, including both City Manager Antonin and Assistant City Manager Chuckall, must acknowledge the financial climate facing our nation, our state, our city, the businesses struggling to stay afloat, or the citizens agonizing to pay bills and feed families as the jobless rates remain unforgiving. Maplewood, a Plan B city. Some citizens may ask, why is there such a disparity in salaries between the council and the city manager or the assistant city manager? Well, Maplewood is one of approximately 13 cities in the state of Minnesota that is organized under Minnesota Statute 412.611 Council Manager Plan. Under this plan, the council primarily determines ordinances, matters of policy, and votes on the city's spending and annual property tax levy. The City Council, including the mayor of a Plan B city, does not hire or fire the city staff because it's not permitted by Minnesota law. The only employee the City Council evaluates and supervises is the city manager. Minnesota Statute 412.611 clearly states, quote, "The city manager shall be the head of the administrative branch of the government and shall be responsible to the council for the proper administration of all affairs relating to the city," unquote. In Maplewood, the assistant manager, like the rest of the city employees, is answerable to the city manager, Antonin, and not the council. Recently, I attended a conference sponsored by the Minnesota Association of City Attorneys in cooperation with the League of Minnesota Cities. At that conference, they provided information to attendees that it is the city manager's purview to assess the city's needs for staffing, organizational structure, and contract negotiation. Simply put, Maplewood's overall administration of day-to-day operations is based on a chain of command model where the Maplewood city manager is in charge. The city manager in a Plan B city such as Maplewood makes decisions to hire, fire, grant promotions, and administer employee discipline on a daily basis without advice or input from the city council or mayor. It is not uncommon for a city manager to consult the city attorney or consult the legal counsel from the city's insurance company, the League of Minnesota Cities Insurance Trust. Why is this information important for Maplewood citizens? Well, occasionally citizens look to the mayor or the council to address city employee matters. Occasionally, citizens may hear individuals claim that certain council members have terminated past Maplewood city employees. However, more and more of our citizens are coming to realize that as a result of Maplewood being a Plan B city organized under Minnesota Statute 412.611, that all city staff employment questions they may have should be directed to the city manager, the person with the real authority to evaluate staff, work with the city workers, or manage the day-to-day affairs of the city. Putting the public back into public policy. As I understand it, Maplewood was originally organized using the city manager chain of command model back in the late 50s to provide for the day-to-day management of the city by a city manager similar to a CEO, while the part-time council met twice a month to ratify the expenditures, address development matters, create public policy, and approve an annual budget. Today, however, Maplewood is much more than the home of family truck farms and a few new subdivisions. The complexity of our community has become more diverse and multifaceted. More citizens and citizen and council involvement in setting policy and direction in Maplewood's future is called for. The struggle I see our city wrestling with is determining the degree to which citizens can be and should be involved when the council creates public policy or determines city spending. Personally, I find citizens an invaluable resource. Citizens want and deserve greater access to much-needed information so they can make informed, balanced decisions, participate in the community dialogue, and determine if their elected officials are making informed, balanced decisions on behalf of our community. Public involvement in creating public policy is critical. Wetland ordinance. One example where the citizens have stepped forward and said we want a place at the table is the amending of Maplewood's wetland ordinance. Our council over the past several months have had numerous workshops and meetings to discuss proposed changes to the current wetland ordinance that was originally adopted in 1996. Citizen involvement has been instrumental in our understanding of the issues created by the proposed changes and the impact on property owners. Presently, if a property owner has a wetland on their property and they have questions about what setback to comply with or what buffer width is required, they must turn to Maplewood's current wetland ordinance as well as the regulations of the Ramsey-Washington Metro Watershed District. An important component of wetland regulations is setting the requirements for the width of vegetative buffers on the land surrounding wetlands and streams. These buffers help wetlands maintain their health and ecological value or function. On April 13, 2009, the first reading of the amended wetland ordinance was passed by the council ayes all, with direction to staff for selected modifications prior to the second reading of the ordinance. Then on June 1, 2009, the City Council held a workshop to discuss those specific concerns voiced by citizens at that April 13, 2009 City Council meeting. These areas of concern include 1. Review averaging of buffer requirements to determine if proposed buffer sizes are too restrictive. 2, better define best management practices in the ordinance. 3, discuss the elimination of all 10-foot building setback requirements from a buffer except for the setback to a utility class wetland. 4, clarify which parts of the ordinance pertain to single-family homes and which parts pertain to new development. 5, clarify that single-family homeowners are able to do work on their own property without the assistance of a contractor. 6, consider a decrease in buffers as an incentive to the implementation of best management practices on single-family lots. 7, consider regulating wetlands around lakes differently than other wetlands. And 8, considering allowing pre-existing non-conforming single-family homes to rebuild on the same footprint. Following is a table showing proposed buffer widths under the 2005 Ramsey County Metro Watershed District regulations, Maplewood's current buffer regulations, and the proposed buffer widths under Maplewood's proposed amended wetland ordinance. And this is a table that Dewey Kaneko helped me to put together. And of course, I'm not going to read it, but Ms. Guilfoyle, it'll be in this.
Bring it over to there, to the camera.
I'll bring it over there.
Well, there was extensive discussion by the City Council at the June 1st workshop. No consensus was reached on items 1, 6, and 7 listed above. For many homeowners affected by ordinance changes, the Council's decision to allow pre-existing non-conforming single-family homes to be rebuilt on the same footprint in the event of fire or natural calamity is a welcome decision. The amended wetland ordinance will come before the Council again early fall as a first reading. Stay informed. This ordinance change may particularly affect you if you live next to a wetland or along the shoreline of a lake or other water body. If you wish to watch the June 1st, 2009 workshop, call City Hall at 651-249-2002. Sorry, Karen. And order a copy of the DVD from Miss Karen Guilfoyle. There you go, you're in print. Informal citizen survey. To better understand the needs and direction desired by Maplewood citizens, taking time to speak with them and asking them their opinions is essential. In addition to speaking with citizens at the monthly Citizens Forum, I've had the opportunity of presenting an informal survey to citizens throughout Maplewood as part of a 2009 Citizen Outreach Initiative that will help us during our budgeting process. This initiative is to clarify what Maplewood issues should be on the Council's priority to-do list. If I missed you and you would like to participate, we want to hear what you have to say. Please clip out the following survey questions and return to the City Hall or to my office. And then there's the address at 1321 Frost Avenue, Suite A, where my car is parked about 24/7. The questions are simple and straight to the point. And then I have the questions. There's the answers yes, no, unsure. About we should take steps today to permanently protect our city's neighborhood preserves from future commercial or residential development. Yes, no, unsure. We need to budget whether or not we're going to move forward with any of those other additional conservation initiatives. Code enforcement should be a city priority. Yes, no, unsure. Do we need to fund our code enforcement a little better for our citizens? I don't know. That's what we're looking for. I believe we should do more to encourage growth of good-paying jobs and businesses in Maplewood. Yes, no, unsure. This ties in with our EDA that we're talking about and that we're working on. Okay, property taxes are a big issue for me. I wish the city would. Yes, no, unsure. Well, we have to figure out what are we going to do. Are we going to recapture the homestead credit? Are we going to raise taxes? Are we going to do something else? We need to know these answers. I think the city should mandate one designated residential trash hauler. Yes, no, unsure. This issue will probably be coming to the Council within the next 6 months. Working to ensure increased Metro bus service to Maplewood and improving bus stops should be a city priority. Yes, no, unsure. This is something that, of course, we heard when we were at the Tubman and the Common Bond development that they were looking for more bus service. There is adequate police patrolling of our neighborhood. Yes, no, unsure. Policing and maintaining public safety is important. At the time of this article was submitted, only a partial tally of the completed surveys was available. However, with that said, the survey results as of July 1st, 2009 are as follows. My deadline for submitting this article, by the way, was July 1st, which was kindly extended to July 2nd. So my article has been submitted to the city since July 2nd. And then about a week after that, they asked me to give them a condensed version for the written one, and the long one that you're hearing would be online. So this way, then, you get to hear it verbally. At the time this article, okay, so the results. Question, protect the preserve, total responses, 74%, yes, 83%, no, 13%, for unsure. Code enforcement is important and should be a priority. Total responses, 65%. 72.3% yes, 12.3% no, 15.4% unsure. Jobs are something we should work towards getting to Maplewood. Total responses 74% yes, 81.9% no, 6.9% unsure, 11.2%. Taxes are a big issue. Of 74 responses, 52.8% said yes, 29.2% said no, 18 said unsure. That we should look to having one trash collector. Total responses was 65 percent yes was 16.9%, no 69.2%, unsure 13.9%. We should do more to improve the bus service. Well, this one I only have 9 responses, and I'll explain that later. Percent yes, 44.4%, no 33.4%, unsure 22.2%. And do we have adequate police coverage in our neighborhoods? Only 9 responses as of July 1st. Percent that said yes, 78%, that said no, 11%, and 11% said unsure. Just as an FYI, the questions pertaining to improving bus service stops and police patrolling evolved later in the survey process as a result of verbal comments received from citizens which appeared to be significant enough to garner seeking public comment. So that's why there's less responses there, because they were added as questions later. I hope you have found this month's Council Corner informative. My next opportunity to write in the Maplewood Monthly is the end of the year. This is pursuant to the directive of the current council majority to eliminate the monthly Council Corner and limit the extent to which council members may write in our monthly to communicate with all citizens of our community. As always, I welcome your comments and suggestions on all matters. One and all are invited to attend the monthly Citizens Forum hosted by myself, held the first Saturday at Maplewood City Hall in the Maplewood Room from 10 to noon, or call me at 651-214-0859 or send an email to mayorlongrie@yahoo.com. And so, anyway, that was my newsletter that I probably worked on for, I would say, about 6 hours or so. So thank you. I'm glad that I got that off my chest. I feel much better now.
Good.
And I will hand this over to Miss Guilfoyle so that she has it.
Move we adjourn.